Greetings and salutations, you're all very welcome. What about ye? And it is Sunday, the 1st of March, 2026, and you're all very, very welcome along. Right, so what happened was, I was on Netflix, and I didn't want to watch a whole big film, and I came across this film called The Singers. It's a wee short film. I know it's about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Classic. A work of absolute genius, right? The film itself is based on a 1850 Ivan Turgenev story of the same name, The Singers. And you know what this film proves? It proves that art is timeless, right? So you're going forward 100 years and more, and they're still able to adapt this and make it relevant today. Now, the action of The Singers takes place in a seedy, rundown bar where a motley crew of regulars sit heads bowed over their pints. Lonely drinkers, drinking lonely as only a lonely drinker can. A barfly flits about trying to get someone to buy him a beer, when suddenly the bartender, guy behind the bar, he has this idea. Well, I'm not going to tell you the whole script because it's a short film. I don't do a spoiler, okay? But basically what happens is they decide to have a competition in the bar to see who's the best singer, and whoever wins gets free beer and $100, sorry. This is one of the most beautiful, life-affirming films I have seen in many, many years. The camaraderie, right, found by lonely men in the oasis called a public bar is perfectly captured in the film. And the turn at the heart of this Singers, the director Sam Davis, a guy called Sam Davis, and if he doesn't win the Oscar for the best short film, nobody should, right? He got the idea, as I say, from the Turgenev book, but this reminds me of reading. You know, it's like a film version of a Charles Bukowski, right, novel. He creates the atmosphere of one of those bars perfectly. And what he did was brilliant. Was he didn't rely on professional actors. He peoples the film with a motley ensemble of characters such as a subway busker called Mike Young, Australia's The Voice winner, Judah Kelly, New Orleans French Quarter busker and pianist Will Harrington, Oklahoma-based operatic tenor and voice coach Matthew Corin or something, and a folk blues legend called Chris Smither. Along with these, Davis assembled a vivid group of non-singing bar regulars, such as Afghanistani war veteran Daniel Hutchinson, Arkansas's townie David Scott Muffin, all these characters, real people in the film from greater Los Angeles. And what he's managed to create is what I predict, as I say, will be an Oscar winner. But it will also be a film people will refer back to as that was special. That was special. Now, one of the main reasons it touched me in the way it has, I suppose, to some degree, is the fact that as a young man, I worked bars. I was a barman for years. Long before comedy, I worked in bars. And the bars I worked in were like the one depicted in The Singers. I was actually born above my dad's pub in North Belfast, not far from where I'm sitting today. It was my playground as a child. Maybe that's why this short film has hit me so strongly. Whatever the reason, you don't have to be born above a pub or work in pubs for this to hit home. And so give it a go. Give it a go. Singers on Netflix. Definitely one to watch. 2 years ago, I entitled my yearly end-of-year tour The Absence of Intelligence Tour. Now, the general theme was the advent of AI, artificial intelligence, and how this technology would impact on our lives, and how I believed we were sleepwalking into the most dangerous pivot in human history for millennia. Swear to God. Like, I gave a comedic example of how AI would soon impact industries, even such as taxi driving. Now, being a comic, I happened to wrap the rather dangerous reality of AI in a sweet covering bit of humour. But make no mistake, I do believe the danger of AI is both real and imminent. Now, Geoffrey Hinton, recognised as the godfather of AI, well, he worked for Google for 10 years, a whole decade, but resigned from Google so that he could speak freely about what he saw as the existential threat posed by AI as it quickly outpaced human intelligence. Now, Hinton went on to win the Nobel Prize in Physics the year after he resigned from Google, and he gave a speech after winning that award, which is a clarion call to humanity around the dangers posed by AI.
Your Majesties, Your Royal Highnesses, Excellencies, dear laureates, ladies and gentlemen. This year, the Nobel Committees in Physics and Chemistry have recognized the dramatic progress being made in a new form of artificial intelligence that uses artificial neural networks to learn how to solve difficult computational problems. This new form of AI excels at modeling human intuition rather than human reasoning, and it will enable us to create highly intelligent and knowledgeable assistants who will increase productivity in almost all industries. If the benefits of the increased productivity can be shared equally, it will be a wonderful advance for all humanity. Unfortunately, the rapid progress in AI comes with many short-term risks. It has already created divisive echo chambers by offering people content that makes them indignant. It is already being used by authoritarian governments for massive surveillance and by cybercriminals for phishing attacks. In the near future, AI may be used to create terrible new viruses and horrendous lethal weapons that decide by themselves who to kill or maim. All of these short-term risks require urgent and forceful attention from governments and international organizations. There is also a longer-term existential threat that will arise when we create digital beings that are more intelligent than ourselves. We have no idea whether we can stay in control, but we now have evidence that if they are created by companies motivated by short-term profits, our safety will not be the top priority. We urgently need research on how to prevent these new beings from wanting to take control. They are no longer science fiction. Thank you.
Hinton doubled down, warning this on the US show 60 Minutes.
Does humanity know what it's doing?
No. I think we're moving into a period when, for the first time ever, we may have things more intelligent than us.
You believe they can understand?
Yes.
You believe they are intelligent?
Yes.
You believe these systems have experiences of their own and can make decisions based on those experiences?
In the same sense as people do, yes.
Are they conscious?
I think they probably don't have much self-awareness at present. So in that sense, I don't think they're conscious.
Will they have self-awareness, consciousness?
Oh, yes. I think they will in time.
And so human beings will be the second most intelligent beings on the planet.
Yeah. We have a very good idea of sort of roughly what it's doing. But as soon as it gets really complicated, we don't actually know what's going on any more than we know what's going on in your brain.
What do you mean we don't know exactly how it works? It was designed by people.
No, it wasn't. What we did was we designed the learning algorithm. That's a bit like designing the principle of evolution. But when this learning algorithm then interacts with data, it produces complicated neural networks that are good at doing things, but we don't really understand exactly how they do those things.
More recently, another man attempting to warn the world of AI is Dario Amodei, CEO of Anthropic, the company behind the AI platform Claude. Now, his company is now valued at, would you believe, $380 billion, and is at the forefront of AI innovation and implementation. In 2024, he wrote an essay entitled Machines of Loving Grace. It was an optimistic appraisal about AI and how he believed at that time it could cure disease and extend human lifespans. Only a year later, his tone had changed dramatically when he published The Adolescence of Technology, a 38-page warning that humanity might not survive AI. The dangers he identified were threefold. In the short term, AI would be responsible for the dissemination of bias and misinformation. In the medium term, it would generate harmful information using advanced scientific knowledge. But in the long term, it would remove human agency completely, become autonomous, and lock humans out of the systems completely. Now, while you may never have heard of Mr. Emoti, 3 blog posts he recently made erased $2 trillion from the software stocks on the market. So he is a man that at least the stock markets are listening to.
About some of the things that are more like in the kind of public awareness and the actions of wider society. It is surprising to me that we are, in my view, so close to these models reaching the level of human intelligence. And yet there doesn't seem to be a wider recognition in society of what's about to happen. It's as if this tsunami is coming at us. And, it's so close. We can see it on the horizon. And yet people are coming up with these explanations for, it's not actually a tsunami. It's, that's just a trick of the light. Like it's and I think along with that, there hasn't been a public awareness of the risks. And, therefore governments haven't acted to address the risk. There's even an ideology that, we should just try to accelerate as fast as possible, which, I understand the benefits of the technology. I wrote Machines of Loving Grace, but I think there hasn't been an appropriate realization of the risks of the technology, and there certainly hasn't been action. So I would say that the technical work on controlling the AI systems has gone maybe a little better than I expected, and kind of the societal awareness has gone maybe a little worse than I expected. So I'm about where I was a few years ago.
When he argues AI is a tsunami on the horizon, we should waken up and take notice. And not just if you happen to work in the software industry, which he views as the canary in the mine. But it's just going to be one of the first industries to be impacted by AI. Soon, every industry built on cognitive labor, in other words, the old brain, such as law, finance, cybersecurity, consulting, engineering, they will all be usurped by AI.
You've said AI could wipe out half of all entry-level white-collar jobs and spike unemployment to 10 to 20% in the next 1 to 5 years.
Yes,
that's shocking.
That is the future we could see if we don't become aware of this problem now.
Half of all entry-level white-collar jobs.
Well, if we look at entry-level consultants, lawyers, financial professionals, many of kind of the white-collar service industries, a lot of what they do, AI models are already quite good at, and without intervention. It's hard to imagine that there won't be some significant job impact there, and my worry is that it'll be broad and it'll be faster than what we've seen with previous technology.
And when those pivotal industries are in the hands of artificial intelligence, who'll be pulling the levers of societal control? Mr. Emoti may be worried his own AI could one day turn on him and blackmail him, as this is exactly what happened when Claude engineers gave their Claude software the choice to either be turned off or to use blackmail and other nefarious techniques and against the engineers attempting to turn them off. Guess what happened? Claude went straight to blackmail. The pace of technological change hit home to me during the week when I was sitting at home watching the old telly when I saw a clip of the German Chancellor on a visit to China. Now, to set this up properly, I have to explain. But see, when I was a wee boy, a long time ago, when I was a wee boy, there was a television show called Lost in Space. It only ran for 3 series. I loved it. And my favourite character wasn't one of the human beings. It was a robot. They imaginatively named the robot.
Identify yourself. Robot Model B9, designed and computerized as a mechanized electronic aid for Earth voyagers engaged in astral expeditions.
Now, things obviously cumbersome and moved by people pulling it across by ropes and whatever. It looks ridiculous today. But as a 7-year-old back in 1968, it was the height of technology as far as I was concerned. It fascinated me completely. And this is where we are regarding humanoid robots today, as used by China to entertain Chancellor Merz on his visit, where the robots did a wee bit of kung fu. I reposted that clip online with a comment, all fun and games, until they're wearing camouflage, holding rifles and marching over the horizon. Now, see, the intersection of AI robots and the military is only one terrifying reality. For make no mistake, boys and girls, it is in the field of weaponry and not medication that AI is being developed at breakneck speed. And again, we've seen this played out during the last week as the US government clashed with Anthropic over that company's refusal to give the US military unfettered access to its AI tools, including Claude. Boss Amodi, well, he refused, saying that to allow full access to Claude could lead to mass surveillance and fully autonomous weapons. Donald Trump has punished the company by directing every federal agency to immediately stop using Anthropic technology, saying that the company had now become what he termed a supply chain risk. The legality of this punitive punishment will, of course, be challenged in the US courts, but the message from the Trump administration to the AI industry is clear. Do what we want, or we will bankrupt you. Trump is so illiterate. He needs every official document broken down into capital letters, right? And so definitely he wouldn't have read or heard of Einstein's famous quote about modern technology and war, when the great physicist is supposedly to have said, "I know not with what weapons World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones." Now, Einstein, of course, well, he was worrying about nuclear war. But today, with the advent of AI, maybe the end of that quote should actually read, World War IV won't be fought with sticks and stones, because there'll be no human being surviving to either hold or throw them. The eagle-eyed among you, the eagle-eyed will have noticed that I have added the Star and Stripes. I've added the Star and Stripes to my little collection of flags. And no, I have not made a mistake. The American flag, when flown upside down, is, according to U.S. Code Title 4, Chapter 1, a recognized distress signal, originally used to signify to authorities that a ship or location is under threat, such as in instances of shipwreck or imminent danger. Well, I believe Trump is doing his very best to shipwreck the USA. And due to this, the nation indeed is in imminent danger. Like the Donald gave his State of the Union address during the week, and yet again, it was an example of his soaring oratory. Oh, up there with Kennedy or Lincoln.
A short time ago, we were a dead country. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world, the hottest. Our country is winning again. In fact, we're winning so much that we really don't know what to do about it. People are asking me, please, Mr. President, we're winning too much. We can't take it anymore. We're not used to winning in our country. until you came along. We're just always losing, but now we're winning too much. And I say, no, 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 you're going to win again. You're going to win big. You're going to win bigger than ever. And to prove that point, here with us tonight is a group of winners who just made the entire nation proud. The men's gold medal Olympic hockey team. Come on in. And in 1 year, we have lifted 2.4 million Americans, a record, off of food stamps. So in my first year of the second term, should be my third term, but strange things happen. Let's also ensure that members of Congress cannot corruptly profit from using insider information.
No wonder they're pointing and shouting. I've already covered this. The Trump family have already raked in over $4 billion in his first year in office.
I've always wanted the Congressional Medal of Honor, but I was informed I'm not allowed to give it to myself, and I wouldn't know why I'd be taking it, but if they ever open up that law, I will be there with you someday.
I'm not surprised. This is the man who took the Nobel Peace Prize off its legitimate Venezuelan winner. Why would we be surprised that he wants to give himself other awards he isn't entitled to? I swear to God. Trump is like a spoilt 10-year-old who's never been told no. And he feels the right to take whatever he wants. And what he really wants is to remain in office. Facing a beating in the midterm elections, there are now fears that Trump may enact emergency legislation to stymie the free vote. And when he says he may run for a third term, even though that's illegal under the Constitution, you can be damn sure he means it.
Well, I haven't really thought about it. We have some very good people, as you know. But I have the best poll numbers I've ever had. I mean, I just solved 8 wars and a 9th is coming. I believe Russia-Ukraine will happen.
For the truth here, boys and girls, is Trump, like no other president, needs to remain in office. For if he isn't the president and in office, he'll be in prison. Isn't it strange that as the Epstein scandal leads to disgrace and possible criminal charges for both a former prince in the shape of Andrew and a former Labour grandee in the shape of Peter Mandelson, the US remains a safe haven for the paedophiles linked to the dead billionaire? Not one man named in the released Epstein papers in the US has had their collar felt or questions asked by the authorities. Right enough, the Clintons were dragged during the week in front of a congressional committee, right? People, of course, by Trump appointees, desperate to deflect from Trump's decades-long friendship with Epstein. The fact that in the 3.5 million Epstein documents released so far, he's holding the same number back. We can't but ask why. Trump's name appears more than 38,000 times. Now, I admit many of those mentions are repetitive or benign. But the question remains, why isn't the president being called to give evidence when he had such a long and documented friendship with Epstein? Many even argue that his threats to invade Greenland, his attacks in Venezuela, and now Iran are nothing more than his desperate attempts to deflect the world from the fact that he continues to refuse to release the remaining Epstein papers. What would those papers reveal? And could their suppression be another reason he wants to run for a third term as president? Back home here, our local politicians continue to run and hide and run and hide, rather than face the impossible task of trying to justify their proposed 14,000 or 27% pay rise. Now here's the head of the independent body which has proposed this obscene amount in MLA pay.
At this stage, we're going into a 2-week consultation with MLAs, the Northern Ireland Assembly Commission, and also the pension trustees. And the reason for that is that is what we're required to do as part of our determination at this stage. We're very tight for time with regards to getting this through. The information has been put out today with a 2-week period for them to reply to us during that consultation period, because we have to have this all concluded by the start of the new tax year on the 1st of April.
Oh, sounds like a bit of a rush job to me. Only 2 weeks for consultation. Now, admit it, there were a few MPs who did comment on the pay rise. But uncharacteristically, the politicians here seem to have closed ranks in their certainty that they deserved their extra £14,000.
You tell me what salary you think we should have.
We work hard and we'll continue to do that for our constituents.
Politicians' pay is not usually an easy subject, and people do not cheerlead anywhere for pay for politicians.
To be honest, yes, I will accept the pay rise.
Pat Sheehan
This is the reason Sinn Féin, in the shape of Pat Sheehan, gave as to why he believed MLAs deserved more money.
Pat Sheehan, is a raise justifiable?
Well, let me say this, Paul. On 2 occasions, my office in Turf Lodge was shot up. On 1 occasion, a bullet went through the window, and had someone been sitting there, they would have been killed or seriously injured. On another occasion, the police arrived at my house to tell me that my life was in imminent danger. There was a bomb outside Liz Kimmon's office a few weeks ago. We heard on some reports yesterday that a man had been imprisoned for stalking Sinead Ennis. Jerry Kelly was seriously assaulted coming out of a restaurant in Belfast city centre. So, given all of that and the vicious and vile abuse that we get on social media and on the street too, you tell me what salary you think we should have.
Well, you see, I can't.
Hang on, not a word from him about how MLAs have improved our health, education, infrastructure, or employment. Instead, Mr. Sheehan's whole argument seems to be about justifying the 27% increase as some form of danger money payment. That being the case, I'm certain that the 9,685 health and social care staff attacked in the last year, 24 to 25, some of them left with injuries that ended their careers. Well, I'd be interested in an explanation from Mr. Sheehan why they're only being offered 3.3% a pay increase while he's getting the 27%. Oh, and by the way, the health services pay increase, it hasn't happened. And it's taken a hell of a lot longer than 2 weeks. The rest of the panelists asked, they fell back on it. It isn't us, it's independent. What can we do? Like, we can't give it back.
So I think we all appreciate and understand that, but I think we have to be honest and realistic about it. And people who are criticising this are going to accept it as well. And as others have said, there's no mechanism for refusing it because we as MLAs have not made this decision and we can't give it back, if you like. So
but can anybody guess? Can any of us guess who set up the Independent Remuneration Board to determine MLA pay? MLAs! I know you'd never have guessed that one, sure you wouldn't. MLAs set it up, you understand? And they set the parameters as to how that would then work out how much money they should get. Right, so they basically set the whole thing up. The argument used by the board to justify the obscene 27% increase is it's straight out of the schoolyard, this stuff, right? This is basically the core of the argument the independent body is using. But right, see them over there, they're getting more money than what we're getting. See the politicians in Scotland and Wales, they're getting more money than what we're getting. We have to get the same as them, and so we do. Demons can't get more than us. We have to get the same as demons. That's only fair, like. What, of course, is being conveniently ignored is the fact that the legislators in those other assemblies actually legislate. Nor have any of those assemblies went on paid leave for years. And having been inconvenienced by being forced back to work in the assembly, our delinquent politicians have spent, wait for it, a whopping 9 minutes. 9 minutes discussing actual legislation pertaining to Northern Ireland since the start of the year. Yeah, 9 minutes. You heard that right. But ours have been spent arguing about flags and language on streets and foreign conflicts. As our children with special needs can't find a school place, our elderly have to endure a third world health service, and our infrastructure crumbles beneath our feet. If we were discussing any other industry other than politics, then MLA pay would be getting cut rather than raised. Northern Ireland Assembly is an expensive white elephant full of blackguards and wasters who wouldn't last an hour if they actually had to go out and earn an honest living. And if you doubt this, boys and girls, ask yourself this one question. How come they can agree in an instant on the pay increase, but on nothing else? I find that a bit strange myself. I do find it a bit strange. Now, I admit, I'm an old man, ranting from a small room. But make no mistake, boys and girls, make no mistake. They're listening. They're listening. Like, as an example, having had a dig at newly elected UUP leader, John Burrows, last week, the man himself, he popped up on my X account with this message. Jake, I trust I can count on your vote, or at least a transfer. I gotta give him some credit. I gotta give Burrows some credit. He has somewhat redeemed himself, not just because he replied to me, but he exhibits a sense of humour, something completely missing among most of our political class. And indeed, he's a crafty wee. He's a crafty wee. His comment isn't as innocent as it seems. He may be having a wee dig at me and the fact that for many years now I have been a conscientious non-voter, which has led some to argue that means I have no right to comment on politics here. My considered response to that argument is, away and smell your ma. Anyway. I refuse to engage in a fixed game, and that's all the Assembly is. A fixed game where the only people who win are the ones making the rules. And as for wee John Burrows, well, he has slotted in to the trough, which is the Northern Ireland Assembly, with this week announcing that he's off on the annual paid holiday to St. Patrick's Day in New York.
Over St. Patrick's Day, I'll be visiting the United States in Washington and engaging with key individuals over there. My objective is clear, and that is to promote Northern Ireland, both in terms of a place to invest. I'll be selling our outstanding workforce, particularly in sectors like fintech, cybersecurity. And I'll also be promoting Northern Ireland as somewhere to visit as a tourist destination. I'll also be promoting the case for the Union because I believe it is in the interests of the West and our security that Northern Ireland is an intrinsic part of the United Kingdom.
First off, positive. I noticed that there were two other UUP members standing at John's side. Because up until now, he's been on his own EO. He has been by himself. God love that child. But he has convinced at least two members to come along and stand beside him. And let's have to be fair about this. Have to be fair. John could be right. John Burrows could be right. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm sure that President Trump and the Trump administration will have nothing better to do but to meet John and hear his very important statements about how Northern Ireland can function as a bulwark against those damn Ruskies and how we must be united and all that. Yeah, I'm sure the Trump and the Trump administration have nothing better to be doing. Apart of course, starting a third world war. Maybe the fact that they're attacking Iran, maybe that might just slightly be more important than me, John, and what he wants to say. But I'm gonna always face this. I've been facing this for many years. In fact, I don't vote. And there's many reasons why I don't vote, not just the fact that I think they're rebellics. Right, but there's other reasons I won't go into here, it takes too long. But I've been getting this for years. And one of my favourite moments on social media was a few years ago when some keyboard warrior decided to have a dig at me. And so he sent out this message where I was talking about voting and the futility of it, which I think the Assembly has proved and continues to prove. Well, this guy kicked back and he says, "Ha, ha, see if we were all like you and didn't vote, we wouldn't have no government." I took a moment. I did take a moment and reminded him that at that particular time, we hadn't had a government for over a year, even though everyone had voted for one. It was a beautiful moment, I have to say. Beautiful.
That's all, folks.